On today's episode, we explore Seward, Alaska, and some of the best places to eat and things to do in Seward proper. This is the hometown where our state flag was born. All right, well, we're gonna check out breakfast at the Breeze Inn Restaurant and Lounge. Let's go.
The Breeze Inn is an excellent place to get a cup of coffee before going out for your first Seward adventure. The staff are warm and friendly, and so are the drinks, especially when you're like me and you're a big kid, and even though your wife is having coffee, you just want a big hot chocolate. We ordered the chicken fried steak because it's one of our favorites. But not only is it one of our favorites, it's also the test of a good breakfast spot.
It looks pretty good. Gravy on top. Looks like it's not from a can, so that's always a good sign.
Oh,
yeah.
that's so good.
Peppery, crunchy, not overcooked. Really good. It's the real way a maniac enjoys his chicken fried steak like me since I was a kid. Just absolutely ham on it. Tabasco. That is the way.
In between meals, we like to explore Seward and go to some lesser-known places. And behind the Avtech building in Seward is something special.
So, once you're behind this Avtech building, there's this secret area where there's a small lake and a set of waterfalls. A lot of people who come to Seward don't know that this place exists. And so it's kind of a cool place to explore if you have a little bit of time. And so let's go check out the waterfalls. It's also in this beautiful area with these really nice trees. So if it's nice and sunny out, you can get a break in the shade. As you can see, this little hike, if you'd even call it that, is extremely short. And so even if you have a little bit of limitation in mobility, it's a great place to come. It's really relaxing. It's easy to access. And Frida. How you doing? You're wet. You're wet, Frida. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's really amazing to get to see some things like this. It's like where there's so much new growth, in the forest right next to, this beautiful tall cottonwood tree that's been around forever. The amount of different types of vegetation here, including the super tall conifers, are really cool. It's a pretty unique area, this coastal forest. I can hear the waterfall here in the distance, so we're getting close. We have these nice ferns, mosses that are growing here right on the side. So lush. There's so much rainfall in the area. Really beautiful. There's a series of waterfalls here in Seward, but really beautiful. Nice relaxing stream that eventually comes and flows under this bridge. A really beautiful place. And you can see that other than the entrance, we're the only people here. You could be in this really amazing forest and get a break away from the big crowds in downtown.
This waterfall feeds one of the twin lakes here in the Seward area. It's a great spot to relax and keep an eye out for wildlife. We waited patiently, and finally we saw something. This curious little river otter has come to shore where they make their bed. After a long morning of fishing, they're rubbing their face all over their territory, scent marking it. They don't want to share their favorite fishing spot after all, so they come to shore periodically, just to remind everybody that this is their space. But this little guy is hungry, and so he's not going to stay here for too long, and it's going to be time to go back in the water and catch another fish. We were really craving seafood at this point, and so we wanted to try something new. A lot of the locals were talking about this place, the Salmon Bake, which, even though I've been to Seward probably 50 times in my life, I had never even heard of. You could tell from the moment you stepped inside that this was kind of a combination of a country feel and an oceanside restaurant. We got here right when they opened, so fortunately we had missed a lot of the crowds that would be inevitably coming. And there ain't nothing quite like enjoying a nice frosty IPA on a beautiful sunny day in Alaska. Anytime I'm anywhere and drinks are served in a mason jar, I know I'm gonna have a good time. And wouldn't you know, a second free dog.
It looks good.
Wanna grab us anything else this time?
Really nice, crispy outside, very juicy, delicious halibut inside. Wonderful. Look at that. Nice, delicate, flaky, big chunks. Right there. Big chunks of crab, not skimping out. That's so good. Yeah, definitely creamy, tasty, chunky, awesome.
With no handouts in sight, our dog friend took to the trails once again as we continued to finish the rest of our delicious meal. It was hearty, satisfying, and exactly what we wanted. Some of the best seafood I've ever had in Seward. It was such a beautiful and sunny day in Seward, which is very different from the usual overcast. So after that big and satisfying meal, we decided that we would go somewhere special. We decided that we wanted to go to the beach. And it just so happens that if you go out to Lowel Point in Seward, you can get just that. The tide was low, and we wanted to explore the coastal areas and see what we could find. Heck, even the drive over there is beautiful. Just look at this raging waterfall. It was extremely relaxing to get to hear the waves lapping up against the shore. We took a nice long walk, going all the way from the spires over to the sandy part of the beach. Even in the middle of such a beautiful day. It's so fascinating that there's only a handful of people on the beach. There were many thousands of people in Seward at the time we were here, but so few out here at Lowel Point. Here on the beach, it's very common for driftwood to appear, but sometimes huge pieces can arrive. And look what this enterprising family did. They made a seesaw using a large piece of driftwood. What a fun day at the beach. There's not a lot of fine sandy beaches in Alaska, but this is one of the few where you can actually find some. Later, for dinner, we wanted something a little bit fancier, so we were driving around in downtown Seward, looking at all the restaurants, when we remembered one of our favorite restaurants. It's a very special place, and it's only open certain times of the year, but when you can get in, oh my gosh. The Cookery is a legendary seafood and fine dining restaurant here in Seward, Alaska, and if you don't have a reservation, good luck. We showed up right at 5 p.m. when they opened, and were lucky enough without a reservation to get a table. And already people were pouring in, and all the staff were working hard to start serving all of us hungry patrons.
Smile.
All right, this is their little amuse-bouche. Tastes like the best beans and cheese mixed with fresh herbs inside of a taco, but without the taco I've ever had. Bit of lemon. Start with trying the cocktail sauce with a little bit of horseradish. You can see that, these are smaller oysters. Salty ladies are what they call these. But me and my wife almost always prefer the smaller oysters because they have this really nice sweetness that when mixed with the salt water inside them is just phenomenal. And so the cocktail sauce is clearly handmade with some fresh horseradish. Really zesty, really good. This is a hibiscus minuet that they serve with it. And so I'm going to try a little bit of lemon in this one.
Where are they from?
These are from Juneau, Alaska. I'll try it with a little bit of that hibiscus sauce. Yeah, now. That'll be interesting. Never had something like that before. Like citrusy, floral, kind of vinegary taste with that. I mean, that makes this taste like a whole different animal. Really, really a phenomenal oyster, both with either the cocktail or the hibiscus. All right, let us try the Cookery's version of shrimp cocktail.
With Alaska spot shrimp.
Alaska spotted shrimp. A nice little bite there. Homemade cocktail sauce. It's lights out. Really good. But this shrimp is like uniquely sweet. This may be on the level of like king crab, in the way that crab is sometimes sweet, but for a shrimp, I've had spotted shrimp here in Alaska before, but nothing that sweet. Like, that is totally unique. The sourcing that they must have for this seafood being so close, to the ocean, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this must have been caught like today. I mean, it's that good. All right, so this is the seared halibut. Ooh, that cut buttery smooth. You look at that right there.
It's
You
big.
can see that is a perfectly cooked piece of fish. Let's get some of this veg over here. Some of that nice creamy sauce. Sometimes people say when fish is flaky, that's when it's perfectly cooked. Well, that's not really true. When it's barely flaky, but tastes like it's cooked just enough to be absolutely buttery smooth, that's when it's perfect. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is this right here. Perfectly seared halibut.
There are many excellent restaurants in Seward. In fact, there are very few that I wouldn't recommend. But unfortunately, there is one that I wanted to talk to you guys about.
All right, so this is Ray's Waterfront, which is historically one of the best restaurants in Seward, Alaska. It's got amazing decor, it's got really cool views of the harbor, but unfortunately, over the years, the food has become just terrible. And so a lot of people come here and they're recommended to go to Ray's Waterfront, but honestly, I would recommend that you skip it. It has been 5 years and it's been worse and worse. So there are better options.
So after all of our food and fun, we return to the harbor for one last stop. Seward doesn't just have amazing restaurants, it also has some amazing seafood to go. Even if you missed that world record halibut trip, you can go ahead and stop by the world famous J-Dock, where you can get your hands on some of the absolute best, freshest, frozen seafood on planet Earth. It can be a little difficult to find tucked away in the harbor as it is, but I promise you, it's worth it.
J-Dock.
J-Dock also operates as a charter service, and it looks like they've caught some huge halibut. Speaking of halibut, did you know that they're born with eyes on both sides of their head, and slowly over time, one of those eyes migrates to the other side? Going inside, they have a little gift shop area, a seafood processing area in the back, and then the frozen seafood we came here for, all lined up fresh. We bought lots of halibut while we were here because we didn't go on a fishing charter this time. And if we find that we aren't going to go fishing when we're in Seward, we always stop here to get some to bring home. Those famous sweet spot prawns, the delectable and underrated rockfish, the tasty and hard to find sablefish. Then of course they have the colossal king crab and the sweet and decadent golden king crab. And then one of my wife's favorites, the giant Alaskan scallops. Although being famous at one point for where our state flag was born, Seward is so much more. And I hope you enjoyed our little adventure all around.
What are you doing?